Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all staying safe, warm, and prepared for what's coming next in the weather. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on important weather updates like this one, because trust me, you're going to want to know what's ahead. We've got a huge shift in the weather coming next weekend, something that's going to bring some of the coldest temperatures we've seen this season. And along with it, the possibility of multiple winter storms that could affect much of the United States. In this video, we're going to break everything down step by step. We'll start with the current weather conditions across the country, then dive into what to expect over the next 10 days, focusing on the major Arctic blast, and talk about the potential for snowstorms that could impact your area. So sit back, grab a warm drink, and let's get into it. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button like this video and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Right now, things are pretty calm across much of the country, especially on this beautiful Sunday morning. The East Coast from Maine all the way down to Florida is experiencing dry and pleasant conditions, making it a great day to get outdoors if you can. The Southern Plains are also seeing dry weather, with some areas enjoying clear skies. However, not everyone is getting to enjoy this quiet stretch. In the Midwest, we're seeing some snowflakes already starting to fall as a low pressure system is pushing eastward across the Great Lakes. This system will continue to spread snow throughout the day, and we're expecting lake effect snow to kick in as well. So if you're around areas like Michigan, Ohio, or upstate New York, keep an eye on the skies for some quick bursts of snow, especially near the Great Lakes where lake effect snow is most common. Speaking of lake effect snow, let me take a moment to explain this unique weather phenomenon. Basically, cold air moves over warmer bodies of water, like the Great Lakes, and picks up moisture. This moisture is then deposited as snow, and in some cases can lead to heavy snowfalls in areas directly downwind of these lakes. The tricky part about lake effect snow is that it can be highly localized, with one area getting several inches of snow while just a few miles away the sky could be clear. That's what makes forecasting lake effect snow a bit more challenging, but we know it's coming. And it's going to affect areas like parts of Michigan, New York, and Pennsylvania over the next 24 to 48 hours. On the West Coast, things are relatively quiet for most areas, except for the ongoing wildfire situation in Southern California. Fires continue to burn across the Los Angeles area, and the dry, windy conditions aren't helping. The Santa Ana winds are expected to pick up again this week, pushing the fires to spread rapidly. The combination of these strong winds, low humidity, and dry vegetation is a recipe for disaster. So if you live in these areas, make sure to stay updated on fire alerts, have an evacuation plan in place, and be extra cautious. We hope the winds and weather conditions settle soon, but it looks like we're in for at least a few more days of this dangerous setup. Let's dive into real story. The Arctic blast that's coming at the end of this week. If you're familiar with winter weather, you know that these massive cold air events don't come around all the time, but when they do, they make an impact. So why is this happening? It all comes down to the jet stream, that powerful river of airway up in the atmosphere that dictates the flow of weather systems. Currently, the jet stream is in a meridional pattern, basically. It's bending sharply southward across parts of the United States. This allows very cold air from Canada to pour down into the country. And when this happens, temperatures can drop drastically in a matter of hours. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine a giant conveyor belt of frigid air moving from Canada across the northern plains and eventually pushing deep into the heart of the US. Friday and Saturday, temperatures across the northern half of the country will plunge, with parts of the Midwest and northern plains seeing temperatures as low as 20 def to through 30 def. But that's not the end of it. As this cold air spreads southward, it will bring freezing temperatures to places like Texas, Louisiana, and even parts of Florida. Yes, you heard me right. Florida could experience a frosty morning or two as this Arctic air makes its way across the country. Now, let's talk specifics. The worst of the cold will hit by Sunday morning, January 14th, and continue through the following week. In some areas, temperatures could drop to dangerous levels, around 20 def to 30 def in parts of the northern plains and Midwest, with wind chills making it feel like 40 def to 50 def. If you're in these areas, make sure to bundle up and protect any exposed skin, because frostbite can set in quickly in these kinds of conditions. For those of you in the southern US, you might not be used to this kind of cold. Trust me, it's going to feel cold. Freezing temperatures will reach as far south as Texas and Florida, with cities like Houston and New Orleans experiencing lows near or below freezing. And while the cold won't be as extreme as in the north, it'll still be a noticeable shift from the warmer weather we've been used to. Okay, here's the exciting part for those of you who love snow. As this Arctic air moves in, we're also going to be keeping an eye on potential winter storms. Now, when you have this much cold air in place combined with moisture from the Gulf of Mexico or the Pacific Ocean, it creates the perfect environment for snowstorms to form. We're already seeing indications that a winter storm could develop as early as Friday, January 19th, and continue through the weekend. This system could bring snow to a large portion of the Midwest and into the Northeast. Depending on the exact track of the storm, we could see several inches of snow in areas like Michigan, Ohio, and parts of the Northeast. And it's not just about the snow. Strong winds could lead to hazardous travel conditions, especially if the snow piles up quickly. Let's get a little deeper into the mechanics of forecasting winter storms. When we talk about winter storms, there are a few key elements that need to align. First, you need moisture, usually in the form of a low pressure system that pulls in moisture from the Gulf or Pacific. Next, you need cold air to make sure that moisture falls as snow instead of rain. Finally, you need to figure out the timing and track of the system. If the storm moves too quickly or too slowly, it could drastically change how much snow falls in a given area. Now we're expecting the storm to develop somewhere over the Midwest, bringing snow to states like Kansas, Missouri, and Illinois. As it moves east, it could continue dumping snow across the Great Lakes region and into parts of New York and Pennsylvania. This storm will likely hit hardest Friday night through Saturday, and by Sunday, it will move out, leaving behind some impressive snowfall totals. But that's not the only potential winter storm we need to watch for. The jet stream and the setup we're seeing right now could lead to more storms through the second half of January. And if moisture from the Gulf of Mexico can catch up with this cold air, we could see another round of snow and ice in the following week, potentially affecting even more areas in the south. Keep an eye on this. There's definitely a chance of another winter storm forming as early as the end of January, with all this cold weather and the potential for snowstorms. How should you prepare? First, make sure you have plenty of warm clothing, especially if you live in the northern plains or Midwest where it's going to get really cold. Dress in layers and make sure you have a good winter coat, hat, gloves, and boots. If you live in areas expecting snow, make sure your car is stocked with emergency supplies. Snow scraper, flashlight, extra blankets, and a first aid kit are all good to have on hand just in case. For those of you who live in places like Texas or Florida, this will be a big change for you. You might not need the full winter gear, but make sure you have coats or jackets ready for the cold snap that's coming your way. And keep an eye on your local forecast for any potential icy conditions. So there you have it. A major Arctic blast is headed our way, and it's going to bring dangerously cold temperatures to much of the country, as well as the potential for winter storms. The weather pattern is setting up for some major changes in the second half of January, and we'll be keeping you updated every step of the way. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. As always, we'll be here with the latest weather news to keep you prepared and informed. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next one.